Hello YouTubers and YouTuberettes, it is I, Connor Arm CEO, bringing in a brand new blog, and it's my thoughts and review of Batman vs Superman. I want to talk about the things that I liked, the things that I didn't expect, and the things that really put me off, that's been giving me a lot of skepticism during the film, and understanding why people don't want the director who done Batman vs Superman not to be part of the Justice League film. And I think in my own opinion I understand why, but we'll get to that as soon as I talk about my favourite parts. Well, first off, I love the first opening of the scene where you just see Warner Brothers appearing on the front of the screen, and then from out of nowhere you see leaves coming down. I'm like, oh, okay, especially with the 3D glasses. That was creepy. That was freaky. Not creepy, but freaky. Seeing the leaves coming down at you, and I'm like, okay, it's been a while since I've wore 3D glasses, because it has been a couple of years since I used 3D glasses. I can't remember when it was exactly I wore them. But I enjoyed the scene where they walk out of the cinema from watching the Mark of Zero. In the original comics or the Frank Miller comics, that's when they came out after watching the Mark of Zero. I forgot the name of the director. It's in the back of my head somewhere, but evidently I will find it. Love the scene where the Shadow just comes out pointing at the gun at Martha and Thomas Wayne, and he's not asking for money. As you like in the comics and the cartoons, you see the guy can't see his fist, but you can see the gun, and Bruce is just staring at everything. Everything's happening, he doesn't expect everything. But surprisingly, you get to see Thomas Wayne squeezing his fist, getting ready to go for him, and I'm like, okay, am I expecting a Justice League Flash paradox here, where Thomas Wayne makes the first move and Bruce Wayne dies, Martha Wayne turns into the Joker? Which I did. As soon as I saw that film, I was like, wow, wow, wow. And then so I love the scene where it just moves straight to the funeral, and you get to see this humongous tomb where they're going to put Martha and Thomas Wayne in, and from out of nowhere Bruce Wayne just storms off into the farthest point of the woods. Then you hear Alfred shouting out to him, Master Wayne, Master Wayne, Master Wayne, where are you going? And then the next thing, that's where he does the classic by falling into a deep hole and going all the way down to the dark parts of the undergrounds, which was the entire foundation of the Wayne lands. And then that's when he sees the entire herd of bats. Now at first I thought that bit was awesome, but it screamed Biblistic type of thing, where you get to see a swarm of bats creating a huge tornado around Bruce Wayne to help him levitate. I mean, literally levitate up into the air, you know, basically like a reborn Jesus, you know. Oh. At first I thought it was pretty good, I thought it was creative, but then after playing it over and over and over in my head, it did sound pretty silly. And then I love the scene where shortly after, when the battle between General Zod and Superman are like literally clashing, but around that point he wasn't announced as Superman only, but in the military he was announced as Superman. They just, let's just say General Zod and the natural birth-born Kal-El. But in the story Kal, they don't really announce him as Kal-El, but only at the one point at the scene where he meets his father for the first time, only about a holographic shell of his father, you know. Bruce Wayne drives through Metropolis to go to his building that he crossed over with, if that's the right term to use. And then that's when he's seen the entire thing going insane. He sees this guy who is going by the name of Wally, and I'm like, as in Wally West? And I'm like, okay, if this is Wally West, what happened to his legs? And then it turns out it's just a different Wally. Different Wally who was in the Superman, the Kryptonian battle massacre, which technically nearly tore the entire place down. And as you've seen in the Man of Steel film, you get to see a lot of Lex Luthor and Wayne Tech and Access Chemicals, Easter eggs everywhere, like literally everywhere. especially the Wayne Enterprises satellite dish that both General Zod and Superman tore apart, as you can see in the last battle before General Zod loses his neck. And then so he witnesses everything, he experiences everything, and then just before he begins to realize in Frank Miller mode, there's a reason why Batman has to come back. And certainly, fast forward, the police officers of Gotham PD go to a radio call, which they found a pack of refugees, Chinese refugees, I think. Where I can't mind because it's I've only seen the film once, and I know some people are going, "Oh, I saw this film like a million times," but I only saw it the once, and there's some scenes I do remember. But we're going to continue on. Then you see this guy like cuffed, like harnessed up to a wall, and then I said for the entire beginning, is Batman branding the bad guys he takes down now? And it's all like, no, that's just his batarang pressing up against the bad guys. I'm like, okay, but wouldn't that not ignore that? But wouldn't that not leave a blade gash going through his skin instead of leaving a big slap on his chest? And then after hearing the police officer said, that looks like he's been branded, and I'm like, what did I say? He's now branding bad guys. And as you see at the very end of the film, Batman was going to do that to Lex Luthor until he branded the wall as a warning. He's like, this is what happens when you cross paths with us. But we'll not get to that yet. Let's get to the part here. He sees the guy tied up with a branded Batman logo, which I've been saying, he's now branding people. And then he finds that the people that are locked up behind the cage, the police officers were about to let them go, but they were scared out of their minds. So like, no, we don't want to go out there. The devil is still out there, but he saved us, but he's still out there. And then he has the police officer has the shotgun out, and then the further music started coming, and that's when you get that chill building up on your spine. And then you see Batman on the top corner of the ceiling, him standing there like a creature of the night, like a vampire attacking his prey. And now he's wall crawling after the guy started shooting him with a shotgun. He's wall crawling through broken holes and everything. And then he sees the batarang darted through a wall, as all you can see every time when Batman has been there, his batarangs are there. And he's not like thinking, well, I don't think I have the time to pick up the batarangs. I'm a millionaire. I can make a shit lot more, which is, of course, is true. And then that when it moves on to the entire business where Superman is doing everything that he can to protect the people, and then people have started doubting him, that he's creating a lot of havoc, and everybody's finding him very not trustworthy since the Kryptonian battle massacre. And then that's when Clark Kent is starting to wonder, what is this bat creature doing? What is he up to? And then things are starting to get serious between him and Lois. They now have an apartment together, and fast forward to another good couple scenes. I love the scene where he just shows up from out of nowhere, and then when the Batmobile is trying to chase after this big truck, then he just stands there and then watches the car graze off his leg and then crash through a gas station, and then just rips the car harnesses apart, and then just says to him, next time they light your sight in the sky, don't go to it. The bat is dead. Bury it. Consider this mercy. And then Batman talks to him in his voice changer, and around that, when did they thought of it would be a good time to give Batman a voice changer? Now, Michael Keaton did a very good deep voice. Val Kilmer did. Christian Bale did. Obviously, Kevin Conroy did. And there's a lot of people who voiced for Batman. And there's two people that I didn't like who didn't do a deep voice. One was Adam West. Probably around that time, they were all like going, you know, I think it's about time we started darkening Batman's voice, because one of these days people are going to figure out, oh, this is Bruce Wayne, he's just wearing a ridiculous outfit. Now, I can probably understand that, but with Batman and Robin, why did they not tell George Clooney to darken his voice, which of course he didn't. And around that time, I know New 52 DC issues didn't exist, but why did they give him a New 52 red Nightwing costume? So like, why didn't you just remove the cape, do the whole Nightwing look, but make the red blue, because around that time New 52 red Nightwing didn't exist yet. And now the things I didn't expect, like say for one, the scene from The Dark Knight Returns where you see Batman going through the walls and taking down the guy while holding him by the neck and holding a huge assault rifle. And it was around that time where Batman did this amazing, epic battle scene. After the battle between him and Superman, he's all like beaten up, he's all like battered, and so is Superman, and he's holding this very kryptonite style spear of destiny type of thing. And he's crashing through the building. He's like, let's post you up to this floor here, and then started crashing. And then the business, which of course is a classic Batman, basically fighting the bad guys, and then when there's a gun behind him, he just whoosh throws the batarang at them. That's just pure classic. And seeing a fight like that, and seeing the way that Ben Affleck did all that exercising, like the tire with the rope, pulling it, and then sledgehammer on the tire, lifting up the tire, doing a lot of I can't mind this, where you're on top of a pole and then you pull yourself up, but have chains wrapped around your wrist with dumbbells, heavy dumbbells, harness on the bottom of it. Now, those are the type of exercise that I would love to do, because I mean, it does look very good, and it does look like you'll be getting into serious shape. And I'm telling you, Ben Affleck did a serious, outstanding performance. I would give him 10 out of 10 for being Batman. He did a fantastic job, and not only he was a fantastic Batman, but hands down, I can't believe he is the oldest actor to be Batman. Because I mean, like with Christopher Reeve, he was the tallest Superman ever, 6'4". That was his real height. The rest of them were like a couple of inches shorter than him, but he was the tallest Superman to be Superman in the Superman world. And like with Ben Affleck, he's the oldest Batman to be Batman in that particular that particular era. He did a fantastic job, and he was fantastic. And the scene where he goes to the wall, he gets a guy by the neck, and he's holding this huge revolver, and then they're doing a lot of reenactments, in the real world instead of just paper and computerized animation. One of the guys that's working with Lex Luthor has a gun to Martha Kent's head. Well, not actually a gun, a flamethrower, which I thought was very good. And he says, I'm going to do it, I will kill her. And then the classic line, which I knew what was coming as soon as I saw him with his hands coming through the wall and grabbing the guy, and he says, I believe you. And I'm like, oh god, I know what's coming. But instead of shooting the guy, it's shooting the guy in the hand, which of course was a girl. And instead of a baby, it was Martha Kent. So he shoots the flamethrower container from behind, and then blows him up, and then he dives at Martha with his protective cape, which was a classic thing to do. Then watch the guy burst out of the window, and then from out of nowhere, which I thought was pretty funny and ironic that Martha Kent would say something like this. So Bruce walks up to him and says, don't worry, I'm a friend of your son's. And then she goes, I figured, the cape, right? And I'm like, okay. And then I thought the whole scene with Doomsday coming, like being born, and at first he looked like Grundy at the start, and then that's when the whole stone things come out of his body, and I didn't realize he would be that tall, like say about from there all the way to there, about the size of this room, flatly instead of uply, horizontal, vertical, I don't understand that well, so like from there to there, this thick and gigantic thing who has a Kryptonian body laced with Lex Luthor's blood, which I quite find kind of creepy, kind of Frankenstein type of feel, which was quite interesting. And the big fight happening, and then Batman comes into the fight with his huge fully equipped huge bat plane, and then from out of nowhere, the huge classic Wonder Woman gauntlet protection, and the music they had for her in the background, that was just pure perfect. Like as soon as she came down, you hear this big huge guitar riff, and I'm like, okay, that song works for her. That was just pure epic. And then the bit, now, quick caution to those who haven't seen Batman vs Superman yet, or didn't afford to go and see Batman vs Superman yet, this is going to contain as a spoiler throughout the entire video that you're about to watch. Turn it off if you don't want to listen. This may contain spoilers, but if anybody has seen it, keep on watching. So, I did not expect the scene where Superman is gonna do the most ultimate thing that we didn't expect to see on live action movie, because in the comic books and the cartoon of Superman and Doomsday, but we did not expect for him to do this, because at the start of the fight he did the scene where Batman vs Superman gave his last breath after saving a little girl who was about to get crushed by Doomsday, going all the way up into orbit and doing the big massive body slam from outer space through like a flying asteroid out of hell and then bashing him through the ground. But instead, they did a mixture between Superman Doomsday and Batman The Return of the Dark Knight Part 2, where he raises them up in the air and then a nuclear warhead crashes through both of them, and then Doomsday goes all the way down. Basically, instead of watching his eyes going from glowing red to black, he just crashes down and gains more energy. Now, that was new around Doomsday, and Doomsday having laser vision. Now, what I was expecting was the rock-styled beard, which is basically made out of rock, a huge, giant, white-haired ponytail, but the whole gaining energy and laser vision thing. But we'll get to that part later. But then they got to the part where he's basically this walking dead zombie floating in outer space, and then doing the whole awesome, let the sun's rays juice him back up again, and then just when the camera was like directly at his face, it just went from motionless, from regeneration, to waking up with his eyes pure red. I didn't expect anything like that, especially what he does at the end of the film, that they actually brought for the first time ever in live movie motion picture instead of animation and comic, the death of Superman. I did not expect for them to actually go that far into the Superman chapter, because I mean, instead of sacrificing his life by beating the crap out of him over and over and over, he actually grabs the spear, rams it into him, and it wasn't even going through. So instead, he knew what he had to do. He had to sacrifice himself to kill Doomsday, so he can so Doomsday's brand new rock stabby pike hand goes right through Superman, and that was the only way to stop him. And as soon as I saw it, I was like my eyes literally lit up, and I'm like, they've actually done it. They've done it. For the first time ever, instead of in comic and cartoon, they've actually done and brought out the death of Superman into a motion picture film, which I found most shocking. And seeing Wonder Woman in action, and seeing Batman in action, and see the bit where Lois Lane throws the spear, the kryptonite spear, into the water, then she was about to give it back to help Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman to take down Doomsday, the biggest 3-on-1 battle fight ever. And to be honest, I thought Aquaman was going to appear out of nowhere, say like you see his hand raising up the spear, but I have to say, Khal Drogo, Game of Thrones, and Conan the Barbarian, I can't wait to see what he's like as Aquaman, which is 2 years from now, which is really going to drive my head in. So like, when is it going to be 2 years already? Because it's going to happen in 2018, along with the year before, the Justice League, along with the Flash and Cyborg. And I especially love the bit where they all donned the funeral, and they did the classic Death of Superman Memorial Park emblem, and then you see at the end, you get to see Martha and Lois getting more connected with each other. So like the first time they met, so like, oh, I'd like to talk to you about your son, and your late husband and all that. He gave her an engagement ring, which around the time, if things were going to go okay, they were going to get married. As in the comics, that's what happens. And the thing that I did not expect, after the whole mess was happening with Superman, he officially gave up and started walking on the mountains. And then I'm seeing Kevin Costner himself as Jonathan Kent, and I'm like, you're dead. A tornado grabbed you and threw you away, unless it magically, safely made you land on top of the mountains. But it was actually a figment of his conscience to tell him, you should not give up, because of all the doubts and all the naysayers and all the skepticism. People keep judging you down, but there's people out there who really need you. And then that's when he officially put his cape back on and rescue Lois from certain death when Lex Luthor pushes him off the ledge. Now, I'm going to talk about things that I was really disappointed about at the same time while I was really happy about it. Right. One, the movie was very, very long. Now, even though I did enjoy it, but I didn't like the fact that they put two major Superman stories into this one film, which I found very unfair. As I said from the very beginning, people are saying Batman v.Superman is the sequel to the Man of Steel, which I still find very unfair. Because in the two major stories in Batman v.Superman involving Superman, which was one, Superman experiencing his first Earthling villain and the discovery of kryptonite, that should have been Man of Steel Man of Steel 2, or I should call you should either call it Little Piece of Home or The Last Son of Krypton. And then brought in the Doomsday story, where it starts off where everybody's going around and finding, and then blah 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 blah. Then the next thing, then like say about a good 10-15 minute battle scene between Superman and Doomsday, and then that's when the death of Superman starts. And then when Batman versus Superman starts, that is when he comes back from the dead, and then finding out about this business between him and Batman, clashing together because Lex Luthor set it up. And seeing Bruce Wayne getting dreams of the future, that there was a big Easter egg coming for the Justice League, for like you saw the Omega symbol, so it's gonna be Darkseid coming into the Justice League for the start of the opening film. That it's going to be the Justice League versus Darkseid and the minions of the Apocalypse, and then you get to see Superman turning on Batman, like using his laser vision to split them in half, and then removing Batman's mask, and then did an Injustice scene. Instead of ramming his fist through Joker's heart, he does it to Bruce Wayne, and then that's when he wakes up, and then he sees the Speed Force of the Flash wearing a helmet and a visor. Why would the Flash know that, and why is he not controlling the Speed Force? Everybody knows that he's very fast, and he can use the Speed Force to travel back in time. And why is that sucking him back? He's like, is the Speed Force interfere and not like to let him interfere or anything? So around that point, they were throwing in so many things, and then as I saw the action figures where you get this 3-pack with Batman, the battle armored Batman, and Superman, and then you get Lex Luthor in the Kryptonite BattleBot. Now, why didn't they introduce that instead of Doomsday? But done is done, and by the looks of it, it's going to be the return of Superman on the Justice League, or way before that, they're going to be doing the return of Superman, and then they're going to probably throw in the story where you get the last son of Krypton, Superboy, Steel, and Cyborg Superman battling each other, and then from out of nowhere, the black suited Superman shows up, saves the day, and comes back as Superman once again. And then that's when the Justice League film starts, probably before the Batman solo movie starts, known as The Batman, probably after the Suicide Squad, and obviously Ben Affleck is going to be writing, directing, and starring in the film as the Batman himself for the movie The Batman. Will Smith is thinking about being Deadshot for the film, as I saw like through Facebook and Twitter, that Will Smith and Ben Affleck are thinking about doing a movie together between Deadshot and Batman, which I hope is the case, because that would be an interesting film to see. And I hope that the things I've seen, with the security cameras with Aquaman, the Flash, and Cyborg, where you get to see their pure origins. And for some reason, I just don't understand, because I mean, in Man of Steel, I saw a lot of former Smallville casts, and now after seeing that footage, I saw another former Smallville cast, who he was a doctor studying meteorites, and then the next thing he started getting the kryptonite jitters, like he's seen with the other guy. He can't stop shaking, But that is what I like to talk about, Batman vs Superman. So I would like to give it as Brianna's from scale of 1 to 10 rate to give to the film. I would have to agree with Brianna. I would give it a 9 out of 10, because it was an interesting film to watch. It was enjoyable, and I really did enjoy the scenes that I really loved seeing. And I really loved how the film went. It knocked off the box office, which was great. And I wish they would have waited until they gave Superman 2 more films, because I mean, you can't just give a Dark Knight trilogy for one thing, and then have the Man of Steel start as an official reboot that ever since Superman Returns, and then they brought out the Man of Steel, and then just from out of nowhere, they're just bringing in a one-on-one battle movie as the sequel, which I still find really unfair. And I hope the Justice League will come out awesome, because I've been waiting for that too, because I know like everybody's been waiting for the Avengers, and now I can't wait to see the Justice League film, which will be taking place next year. And I can't wait to see the other feature films. They've done a reboot for the Green Lantern, but it's now called the Green Lantern Corps, so I don't know if they're going to be bringing in Hal Jordan into the main as the main character, or Jon Stewart. which I would love to see who would be John Stewart for the Justice League movie or the Green Lantern Corps, because I don't know if the Green Lantern's coming into the Justice League movie, but we'll just have to wait and see. And so that is my video for tonight, and I'm gonna finish off the rest of my videos to see if it's fully uploaded yet. So YouTubers and YouTuberettes, this is Connor Arm CEO signing off and wishing you a very happy good night, and I hope I get to see you all soon for the future reactions. So until then, as I haven't done this in a while, signing out.